With that, we'll talk about Westphal, a great player, NBA champion in 1974, five-time NBA All-Star, three-time NBA All-First Team, All-NBA Second Team in 78. His number 44 was retired with the Phoenix Suns, second team All-American in college, and so on and so on. McAdoo's, you got a chance to play with him. I caught Paul toward the end of his career, and very good basketball player from Southern California, went to SC, very intelligent person, did a lot in the community, grew up in Torrance, California, so he's one of these Cali kids like myself. Tell us a little bit about him, Bob.
Well, me and Paul first came in contact at the Pan American trials at the Air Force Academy. And I guess out of the 75 players that were there, he was one of the guys chosen along with me to make that Pan American team. So I got to see his talent when we were like 19 or 20 years old. And neither one of us knew we were going to be, good NBA players. We were just happy to be great college players and make that Pan American team. But I saw then that he was somebody that was, very good. He was, he could leap, he could shoot, he had great moves. He was just a complete basketball player. When I first met him at the Air Force Academy and when we played in the Pan American game.
But you know what? He had that real unorthodox game. He had the ability to jump off the wrong foot and make layups at 6'4".
Yeah.
Paul was a big player. And he was kind of like the big guard when Magic Johnson, and they label him as that big point guard. Paul was that before Magic got there at 6'4" and could handle the basketball. And that was the one thing, again, about his playing career. Had 12,809 points. That's 15 a game, 3,591 assists. Wasn't good in the steal area, just 1,022 steal, but his forte was putting the ball in the basket. And I remember playing against him when he was with the Seattle Supersonics, just before he got traded, moved on. But he was toward the end, but still had that ability to get a shot off. That you can almost classify him as a very slow player, but methodical and very detailed on what he wanted to do on the floor.
Yeah, you have the stats. How many years did Paul get? About 12 or 13?
Yeah, 12.
12 years. Once he got in the league, you kind of knew if he could have gotten through the injuries that he was going to be a long-term player because, like you said, he was a big guard. He could guard, point guards, two guards, and he was also a hard cover himself. Because he was physical with his 6'4", and that's what I remember him being when we first met when we were teenagers, and the first couple of years when we were in the NBA. And I guess the games that I remember most, because we kind of lost contact after we went our separate ways in the pros. I remember that Phoenix Suns, Boston Celtics. Triple overtime in the championship where he had a fantastic series against the Boston Celtics. They couldn't guard him, but unfortunately, Boston ended up winning the championship because, Boston in those times, they just had the better teams than everybody. But Paul, he was just a great player right from the beginning.
And I failed to mention, in 2019, he was finally inducted and recognized for his talents into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame.
You know what? I didn't know about that, but he definitely deserved that from his career. I was saddened because I hadn't heard it on the news. I just happened to pick up my New York Times one morning, and I got to the obituary section, and I saw it, and it's like stuck in my heart because he's a contemporary of mine. We almost, he's a year older than me, and I remember him when we were so young. It just kind of stuck with me, and then I kept reading the article and said that I guess they found the cancer in his brain summer of 2020. So he didn't have a long time left after that. It must have been really serious. When you hear that big C, it's just devastating to hear.
Yeah, that's one of the sad parts about our life. The one thing I like to say about people who have lived and gone on is that that the day that you were born and the day that you passed away, the most significant thing in that is that little mark in between. And I think all of us, and Paul for sure, and all the people we're going to talk about, made significant impacts on the NBA, and I'm pretty sure in their community, and especially to their loved ones. And Paul was very good about coming back to the community. Went on to be a coach in the NBA, coach with Lionel Hollins at Phoenix. And, those are the significant things to me, where I really tells you about a man's purpose here on earth and in this game of basketball. Because, back when I first started playing, I never thought that I would see the end of me not playing. And I'm pretty sure you think the same. And I think, again, when we do things, so you do it in the respect of the game, for the love of the game, but you also do it for who you are. And Paul's a good person deep down, man. Good
he
person.
was. He was. That's what I remember. He was very respectful. I don't ever remember any controversy around his name. He was an upstanding citizen. And, what I can't remember, I remember him getting a coaching job, but, like I said, we kind of, after the Pan American Games, all of us went our own ways. We started having our own families, and I kind of lost contact. I'd only see him, we nod at each other when we played against his teams, as a player and a coach.